Welcome to Politi Bunny on the Attack. I am your host, The Bunny, and tonight we're talking about white woman privilege. Yeah, it's funny even saying that out loud, you guys. White woman privilege. And of course, we're going to talk a little bit about sexism against men as well. I'm finding in talking about white woman privilege that sexism against men goes hand in hand. And so we'll talk a little bit about both of those tonight. Trust me, it's going to be interesting. You know, it's funny because feminists can't quite get around just vilifying men now. You know, it's getting old hat. Oh, you're going to blame men for everything wrong with what you think is wrong with this country or why you think your life is so horrible. It's getting old. People are getting bored of hearing it's all the guy's fault. So they have to come up with something else to be outraged about, something else to be pissed off about. And so what they've done is they've married racism and sexism into white woman privilege. Yeah. I just giggle every time I see this. So what we're doing is not only vilifying men, we're vilifying women based on skin color. Right. But before we dive into all of that goodness, that white woman privilege, I feel like I should say that as if it's written in caps. White woman privilege. Before we get into that, we're going to bring you this PSA. So, white privilege. Now, it's not just white woman privilege. I was ranting about white privilege earlier, and a good friend, Donna, said it had been something that had been tossed around even in the 60s and 70s. And Donna, being smarter than I am, and she is, I hope she's listening, Donna, you're brilliant, she pointed out that it's just another facet of communism and Marxism. You know, the whole collective, the idea of the group think. And so she talked about white privilege and how it was a term in the 60s. Thanks, Donna, for that tidbit. Me being me, however, I rarely come into contact with the term these days. I have to be honest with you. I kind of tend to be over in the Benghazi realm or talking about entitlement stuff. You know, I don't tend to kind of float into any kind of racism discussion in social media because I always get pissed off when I get into that, being somebody who totally believes in the idea of character versus skin color or sex or any of that nonsense, so I don't really come into contact with it very often. But this week, I came across a hashtag, and it said white woman privilege. And I decided to take a little peeky into the tag, and boy, am I really sorry that I did. I never see as much martyrdom and victimization and poor me bullshit as I see in feminist hashtags on Twitter. It drives me insane. You know, everything is about how life is unfair, the government should do more, this idea that women are victims of society. It's always prevalent in any kind of feminist hashtag. The white woman privilege one was especially ugly because what it was a bunch of white women talking about how ashamed they were of their skin because how much harder it is for minority women out there. So not only as a white woman am I oppressed by evil men, but I'm privileged. Yeah, that kind of, I wasn't sure how that worked. So I jumped into it and I asked a couple of these women, and again, this probably wasn't my mistake. I asked them, I said, so how does this work? How can I be oppressed by men, yet privileged as a white woman?